Chicago Bears Now is presented by Roan. Upgrade your wardrobe today with Roan by going to roan.com/chatsports. Code chatsports, going to get you 20% off all of their awesome clothing. All right, on today's Bears Now rundown, my name is Harrison Graham. Jaylon Johnson, is he going to demand to reset the quarterback market? We'll dive into that. Justin Fields, is he still hoping to stay in Chicago as the Bears quarterback beyond 2023? And what is the latest in the Bears offensive coordinator search? All of that and more coming up here in just a few moments on Chicago Bears Now. But listen, we got 27 new subscribers on our last Bears Now episode. It's pretty good. We feel good. Welcome to our new audience members here. It's 100% free. If we top that today, so 28 or more new subscribers, we'll go live for the Lions-Bucks playoff game this weekend. We had fun for the Lions game this past weekend. We watched the second half of the Packers game, FGB. 28 new subscribers from this episode. We'll go live again this Sunday for a little divisional round NFL playoff action. So hit that subscribe button. Daily Bears videos for free. Help us out. Let's go live this weekend. All right, let's get to Jaylon Johnson here. He told Keyshawn Johnson on his podcast that he wants to be the highest paid cornerback, which is a bit of a new tune from Jaylon. Here's what he had to say. He said, I think the ball is in my court. The ball is in my favor, really. I think it's just a matter of time when it happens. But I think really going into the negotiation, I don't think it's too much to really talk about. I feel like there's no reason I can't be the highest paid corner in the league. I took the ball away. I got all pro. I got a Pro Bowl. I mean, what else is there for me to get? I'm going to go in, and the ball is really in my court. I'm just going to wait for them and come to terms on it, and hopefully it's what I feel I'm deserving of. This feels like him and his agent have been talking, because a couple of weeks ago, both Jaylon Johnson and last week Ryan Poles followed it up like, hey, deal's going to get done soon. We feel good about it. And Jaylon seems to still be expressing that optimism, but he's adding that detail of, yeah, I mean, I'm shooting to be highest paid. That's kind of what I feel like is coming here. Now, maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe his agent has gotten info from the Bears like, yeah, we're going to reset the market with you. But that would be on Ryan Poles-like, if we're being completely honest. And I do think this is where Ryan Poles has missed a little bit. He could have gotten a deal done, I think, to have Johnson as the 5th or 6th highest paid corner. And now he may have to be top 2 or 3 and maybe even the highest paid corner if it's going to be on a long-term deal. There is, of course, another option. But I do understand why Jaylon Johnson feels like he's in a place of power. He was the highest graded corner in the NFL this year for PFF, which isn't the end-all be-all, but watch the tape, man. Like, he takes away half the field. Don't believe me? Watch the Packers game without him. They gave up over 400 yards and a lot through the air. Like, that's a totally different game if Jaylon Johnson's out there. I like Tyreek Stevenson. I like Kyler Gordon. I like Terrell Smith. They're not Jaylon Johnson. They don't have the impact he does. So we'll see where this goes. And listen, I'm still hopeful for a long-term deal, but what's hanging in the Bears' back pocket is the old franchise tag. That thing right there. You can get him at $16.5 million next year for Jaylon Johnson. If he's going to sit there and say, give me 22 a year, they might just tag him, man. So I hope it doesn't go down that road. I hope they can find a happy medium, $19, $20 million a year. Like, hey, let's make you a top 5 guy. 4 for 80, something like that. Not sure it happens, but I still think he'll be on this team next year. It's just a matter of what capacity and what type of contract that's going to be, which leads us to this question where I want you guys to weigh in. What will the Bears do with Jaylon Johnson? If you think they'll extend him, get a long-term deal done, type E for extend. If you think a franchise tag is coming, type T for tag. Pen comment on today's video. So after this YouTube ad break, we'll dive into our next story. Does Justin Fields want to stay? I've never thought he for sure wants to leave, but I do think there's always been this thought in the back of his head like, well, I'll probably be starting somewhere else. So worst case scenario, I'll be on another football team. But Justin Fields shared a DJ Moore Instagram post on his IG story, and it suggests that he wants to return and stay in Chicago and keep building. We'll dive into that in just a second, but first, let's talk a little bit more about our sponsor, Roan. The commuter collection from Roan has reinvented the male's closet, guys. You can get 20% off with code CHATSPORTS at roan.com/chatsports. Roan has you covered in any situation, from their dress pants, their button-down shirts, their polos, their 4-way stretch fabric material is fantastic. It's going to have you feeling good while looking good. That's the key, right? You can look good in a lot of different clothing brands, but do you feel comfortable? Is it breathable clothing regardless of the weather? If it's hot outside, if it's chilly, Roan's got you covered. They got you covered in any situation. If you have a big, important business meeting, if you have a little happy hour you're going to attend, want to keep it more casual, if you're hanging around the house, if you're on the golf course, they got it all. Their clothing is fantastic. It fills all of your needs. My best part about Roan, guess what? No more dry cleaning. Machine washable clothing. You throw these bad boys, this polo, the gear that our fellow right there is wearing as well, into the washing machine, air dry it, boom, you're good to go. You're saving money all the time because you don't have to go to the dry cleaners. So here's what I want you to do. Go to roan.com/chatsports. That's RHONE.com/chatsports. Use that code chatsports and get 20% off today. Load up on some nice clothes. Never visit a dry cleaners again. Trust me, Roan is the place to go. Okay, so here was DJ Moore's Instagram post. A few different photos. Had one of him and Justin Fields smiling after a big play earlier in the season. And then Justin Fields shared it with one of those fingers crossed emojis. Now, who the hell knows what this means, right? Like, is he saying, yeah, man, I fingers crossed, we keep building this thing, or if he's just saying like, hey, yo, that's my guy right there. Maybe it's a little bit of both, right? We do know this. DJ Moore has made it very clear that he wants Justin Fields to return as this team's quarterback. Fields seems to want to be back also. He was asked at the end of the season, what would it mean to you if Ryan Poles committed to you and kept you? He said, it would be confirmation. It would feel great, blah, blah, blah. I think he wants to be here. I think he knows in the back of his head there's a safety net. He will likely be a starter somewhere else, but you got to think he's licking his chops to be back, right? Because he's finally got this number one receiver. This team is building something. But on the flip side, we all know and understand that there's a very real possibility that the Bears go in a different direction. I also understand DJ Moore voicing his opinion to keep Justin Fields because the guy had a career year. He feels like, hey, this is a 24-year-old quarterback that I am growing with. He's helping me grow. I'm helping him grow. Let's not break that up after a year. The problem is, and this is using Ryan Poles' words, this is a unique situation. Like, there was growth this year from Justin and the team. They went from 3 wins to 7 wins. The offense still isn't that good, which is why they're getting a new OC in here, but you see the promise. You see the QB wide receiver one combination come to fruition. There is a thought, if you keep building with pieces around that foundation, this offense with the right OC could take off. But the reason it's a unique situation is you got the number 1 pick again because the Carolina Panthers handed it to you, and Caleb Williams is viewed as this big-time prospect that you should not pass up on. So that's the curveball, right? If that Carolina pick was number 6 overall, I think it's a different conversation. It might even be a different conversation if it's number 2 or number 3 overall. But it's the number 1 pick. And if Ryan Poles thinks that Caleb Williams or someone else in this draft is a can't-pass quarterback prospect, he's going to probably take that player. So with all of that being said, fill in the blank for us. Justin Fields will play for the blank in 2024. Will it be the Bears? Will it be the Commanders, the Steelers, the Falcons, the Raiders? Where's he going to play next season? Let us know. Producer Coop saying Cowboys. Don't think that's happening. But who knows? Jerry Jones is he's the ultimate curveball. So fill in the blank. Let us know where Fields is going to be playing next season. All right, let's discuss further the Bears OC interview search. Thomas Brown is another Sean McVay disciple. They interviewed him today. The OC search is now up to 6 candidates. Now, what's interesting about Thomas Brown is he is interviewed for at least one head coaching job in the past. He is now also set to interview for the Tennessee Titans head coaching job, I believe, on Friday. So we'll see if and when that interview does take place, but that is the report. And this guy has been a fast riser, man. And I mentioned McVay disciple. Think about this just for a moment. He was the Rams 2020 running backs coach, got hired for that role. He impressed Sean McVay so much that he promoted him to assistant year head coach in his second season there. And by the way, he's 37 right now. That means he was 34 years old when he got that promotion. That's pretty damn interesting to me. Becomes the Titans coach the next year, still has that assistant head coach title, gets the Panthers offensive coordinator gig, was not slated to call plays. Frank Reich was, but then he ended up calling plays some because they just couldn't figure it out. Reich took play calling back, then he got fired. it was a disaster. It was a mess. And look, Thomas Brown has to take some accountability for that. I don't know who you really blame. I blame the owner the most, David Tepper. He's just an idiot. Yeah, last year was obviously a mess. But I think one thing with Thomas Brown that is undeniable is this guy is just a flat-out leader. I mean, listen to what Sean McVay, Super Bowl champion with Thomas Brown on his staff, had to say about him when he was on the Rams staff. He's got such a unique, educated, and impressive thought process as it relates to a lot of things outside of football. That's why he's also the assistant head coach. I heavily lean on him with some things where he runs some leadership group meetings. He has a great pulse for the team. He's one of the greatest competitors I've ever been around. He's got such a great disposition, very matter-of-fact, secure of himself, demanding of his guys, and any time that you're a great coach, you have to have a big-picture perspective, and he's always had that. That's a pretty glowing endorsement, man. And I get back to the thought of Sean McVay made this guy his assistant head coach when he was 34 years old. Like, listen, I don't think he's the top offensive coordinator candidate based on who the Bears have interviewed or plan to interview, and this is the complete list up to this point. Shane Waldron, Klint Kubiak, I think those are my top two guys right now. Kubiak, the pass game coordinator in San Francisco, but he's called plays before. Liam Cohen at Kentucky, another McVay guy. Greg Olson, who's on this coaching tree as well, a little bit older, obviously. Greg Roman outside of the coaching tree, so that's the one curveball here. Thomas Brown, McVay guy as well. So it's all McVay, Shanahan guys. I mean, that's pretty much, except for Greg Roman. Again, I don't think Thomas Brown is a guy I would say, hey, come be my OC and come call plays. Like, I just want someone with more play calling experience and who's had more success. I don't think it was fair to Thomas Brown last year. He wasn't even supposed to call plays. He gets thrown in there, and it's just a mess to begin with very little talent around Bryce Young. But I would love this guy on my staff, man. Like, running backs coach, you give him a run game coordinator title or something like that. Now, he's getting a head coach interview, so he might have greener pastures out there. But if he doesn't, if you could get a leader like that in here, and you're going to have to fill out other positions on this offensive staff, a young guy that can really relate to players like this, I mean, that's valuable to have and could be a good resource for Matt Eberflus to have a, offensive head coach type of guy as he's, more of a defensive guy, obviously. So who do you want as the Bears offensive coordinator? I'm either Waldron or Kubiak right now. They both have experience. They both have experience from the from the Shanahan-McVay tree that I really like. So those would be my top two guys, but let me know who you want as the Bears OC. Quick news item here, the Shrine Bowl, which is just down the street in Frisco, and I might look to go to this, and maybe I could talk to Richard Hightower. We'll see. The Bears special teams coordinator has been named the head coach of the East team in that one. So remember last year, Luke Getsy, sayonara, but he was the head coach of one of the teams at the Senior Bowl, and the Bears scouted that bowl game pretty hard and drafted a lot of players that were there. Now, the Shrine Bowl doesn't have quite the level of talent. You see more middle to late round guys here, but I bet Ryan Poles shows up. Flus might be around scouting some talent. This bowl game is, or All-Star Bowl game is set for February 1st, so I may try to get out there for a couple of practices and maybe get an interview or two. We'll have to wait and see. We're still trying to work that out. But good for Richard Hightower. Gets him some head coach experience here to lead a team for one of these all-star games. So excited for him. He's done a good job with the Bears special team unit over the past couple of years. All right, guys, that's it for Chicago Bears Now. Enjoy your evening. We'll be back tomorrow morning with another episode, and then Bears Now Live returns on Thursday. And remember, subscribe if you want us to go live for Lions Bucks here on Sunday.